Welcome to the show, Tanis. I am really excited to talk with you. I know there's going to be some probably weird and magical stuff coming through today, so I'm here for it. How are you doing today? Welcome.
I'm great.
Recently, you've been getting into ancestral healing, and how is this connected with your relationship with the earth? And just tell us more about that angle of ancestral healing that you've been diving into.
It has to do with healing the cellular memory. I've just finished writing a book which is out in French, but it isn't out in English, and it's been sold to German and Dutch as well. And it's called "Good Morning, Henry," and it's about working with our body consciousness, the body elemental, the body intelligence, to actually transform all of the stuck patterns, release all the stuck patterns so that we can be enlightened and wake up. And ultimately, it comes down to the cellular memory. That's the last place it's stuck physically. So after people have done their spiritual work and they've done their mental stuff and their emotional stuff, then I think it's important to start looking at go right back down to the physical. And that's the earth. And so that's what ancestral memory is for me. It's stuck in my cells. And so since I realized this and I started writing that book, Natalie, about 8 years ago, it never has taken me that long to write a book, ever, 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 ever. Normally I write a book in 2 years, but it's because it kept on coming alive in me. And there would be another layer revealed and another. So for me, that's the bottom line. It's healing at the cellular memory. And that's why I do ancestor and family healing. I'm a psychotherapist by training. So that's where, I started specializing in spiritual transformation.
Yeah, tell us, I've been doing somatic therapy every week for a year now. It's awesome. And so
Fantastic.
yeah, and for my experience has been like without even knowing what the event is, I can go from something happening on the surface or something that showed up in my dreams, and my therapist can help guide me through just feeling in my body, and then I'll have some memory or some big grief release or something. It's like it's very, it's not linear logical. So I'm curious, like, what's your method of this of working with the cellular memory? Because it's not something that you can just think your way through. It's not something you can just talk your way through. It's something that has to be embodied. Like literally, you have to be in your body and feel it and move through it. So what's your approach to this? And yeah, I just want to hear more about that process.
It's so wonderful that you talk about it's not being linear, that working with the somatic, working with this unraveling. And it has its own time, as you've also discovered, I'm sure. And you can go gangbusters ahead, and then you come to kind of a stuck place and you stay there forever. And you think, is this ever going to open up? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I see it. My husband's in therapy, but he's in talk therapy. And I'm like, to freaking get into somatic therapy because he's like, I know what all the like traumas and triggers are, but how do I actually deal with it? I'm like, somatic therapy.
Duh, 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 duh. That's right. Or ancestral work, and that's the way I approach it. I approach it by helping people, first of all, to look at it in theory. So let's look at mom and dad and the tribe and whatever. So let's get it at that level mentally first. Now we're going to do exercises to move it into the heart and to the feeling area so that you can feel what that means when you discover something about your mother or your father that maybe was, and now you feel it, and you aren't only just feeling it from your point of view, you start feeling it from their point of view. Have you discovered that as well?
I do, yeah, and I can even see it down through, I only know my grandmother, I didn't know my great-grandparents or anything, but I can see, like, wow, this is not something I came into this like, that I picked up in this lifetime. This is something that came directly from her, and I see it reflected in my sisters as well, who have even
Fantastic.
one who has a different father, and I'm like, "Wow, how is this the same pattern through all of us?"
Fantastic. So that's it. So then you get this at the feeling level, and now you're getting, this goes beyond me. And then I do a lot of guided visualization work, meditation work with people, and then they're moved into their body and they look at where they're holding these things. And what I believe, actually I could say what I know, is that not only when we get this and we get it on all three levels, so we get it mentally, emotionally, and physically, and we move to a place of forgiveness with it or blessing, because we have to bless all the gifts we got as well. So we move to this wonderful place of blessing and forgiveness, which opens our heart more. But it doesn't just erase all the traumas and wounds back in time, it also erases it forward in time. So that because there is no such thing as time and space. So now it is all clear. So that's how I work with people. I work on all levels, because we're not just one thing. We are physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual beings.
Yeah, totally, totally. Oh, yeah.
And something I've also discovered, and this was really weird, is I have problems with arthritis in my fingers. And it's my mother had it, my grandmother had it. So I know it comes down the female side of the family, the Irish side. And I thought, well, I'd love to heal this particular physical wound because it isn't always psychological. It can be physical stuff too. And then I was doing a past life regression on myself to check where does this come from in the family? And bloody hell, didn't I discover that in Ireland 150, 200 years ago, right, when there was the potato famine, I was a man living in this crofter cottage with all of these children, and they were all dying, and I was out in the garden trying to dig up potatoes with my hands, and there was nothing. And it was like I was clawing at the earth, trying to find something, and they were turned like claws. And so that I am the ancestor.
Like your own past life.
In my own past life, I'm the ancestor that created the physical problem.
Amazing. How's your arthritis today?
I have a different relationship with it. I still have it, but I don't take any medication. I still dig in the garden with my hands. And I love to dig in the garden with my hands. And yeah, it's a different relationship. It's no longer the curse. It's almost now, oh, you poor sweethearts, oh, the pain this poor man felt being so impotent and not being his family dying and he can't feed them.
So powerless. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you do it? Was that like a hypnotic past life regression or dream work or just journaling or just psychic insight? Like what's your
Just psychic insight. And this is what I do with folks, I believe that this is much easier to do, Natalie, than people imagine.
I believe so too.
Good, good, good. I keep saying to people, you have no idea how easy it is. Like, close your eyes. Like right now, I'll just do something quick for you and somebody else. Okay. So, okay, close your eyes. Okay. Now, think of a rose. Okay, good. See the color of the rose. Don't tell me anything yet. Is it on a long stem or a short stem? Are there any thorns? Is it a bud, a full bloom, or is it past its best? Okay, open your eyes. Now, what color was your rose?
Dusty purple.
Was it a bud or was it
Full bloom.
full bloom? How long was the stem?
Well, it didn't have one at first, but when you asked, then it had a long stem.
Good, good. And did it have any thorns?
Thorns and leaves, yeah. And it was really coming from a old rose bush I used to have. Yeah.
Great. Well, what you saw is unique for you. Usually, and that is how easy it is. Now, you found it on an old rose bush that you had. We're talking about ancestors. This is an ancestral connection, and it's got a long stem. You've been doing a lot of work on this. And what are you finding out? Oh, there's some thorns. Ooh, and there's some leaves. Ah. And your color is unique. Probably the color of blood.
Oh, it was like a it was very dusty purple. It was almost like behind you, above your head, this kind of like purple. There's like a purpley kind of color.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
it. Or off
Yeah.
to the side here, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, it was a little like
purple.
gray purple.
Gray purple. Okay. So then you have to think, what does that color mean to you? For me, it's a spiritual color. And as I said, I'm getting a feeling once again of the ancestors and the spiritual connected, the blood and the spirit connected. But I'm just doing that quick with you. But and everybody who did the exercise with you, they're the best interpreter of what that means. The only thing I'm doing is giving a few pointers.
Yeah, and I would say that the color is very like antique nostalgic to me.
Aha. There you go. So once again, it's this ancestor stuff. Antique, nostalgic.
Tell us more about this rose. Tell us more about this little exercise.
Oh, it's what I'm wanting people to see is it's that easy. I can take people into a past life or into their body, that easy. But it doesn't have to be me doing it. People need to realize that if they'd stop censoring themselves and just go with what spontaneously they get, that they have all the answers. So, like, I could work as a medium, a professional medium, if I wanted to, but my life is dedicated to help people developing this themselves and to believe in themselves.
I love that. Taking out the middleman.
Take out the middleman and go straight for it. And that it is so much easier if they'd only realize they don't need to second guess themselves.